Hello, welcome back, and very late welcome to the Year of DKess, I suppose. I wanted to do this video way earlier, but obviously, college stuff keep me busy. Um, but now I can finally get on it, and I really want to talk about this. Uh, you know, ever since the start, like when I first saw DKess's moveset in Aureus, I've always kind of just been like a big fan of this character. I love the music in the set a lot. I love how like it's kind of opened up the avenue for a lot of more community projects. And with this whole event going on, I was like, this is a good time for me to kind of talk about my experience with DKess, the character, and just him and the Lawl Community as a whole. That being said, I will be completely honest. I don't have as much experience with his source as much as everyone else. I haven't seen a lot of the original videos he comes from. So, if you have anything to add whatsoever, please do leave a comment this time. Like, I'm not aware of the lore, to be completely honest. This is a very strange character. But, he works. He works really well. But why? Why does he work? Because, like, if you think about it, most original characters, and that by like OCs in LoL, generally are received very poorly. Like, they're not really appreciated or liked. I'll often shit on them pretty often, not to be mean or anything. It's just like it's just what happens. But why does that happen? Why are we kind of just like that to original characters? When original characters are added to LoL, you got to think about the context. Like, LoL, the whole thing about LoL is that it's meant to be this fun little place to make things based on certain niches and fandoms and introduce it to a wider audience. Just for the fun of it. It's a fun little animation project, and it's nice. It's interesting. The problem is, it's like the issue in this case then is it's the complete opposite of the problem you would get with a fighting game character, where a fighting game character, you know exactly what their moveset realistically probably should be, and that may make them inherently way less interesting. With an original character, you know absolutely nothing. And while that's great usually for LoL characters, in my opinion, it's worse because if it's an original character, that they could just be completely made up on the spot. Like, I could know nothing about them whatsoever. They could have been literally made that day or like that week. They could have barely any like of a source to jump back on, so they kind of just ended up becoming self-inserty. Like, they kind of ended up being like a shortcut. Like, it's not like there's not much to get invested in. Like, and that's why like characters like Codex Snake and MS Paint Guy are like maligned by most people. Personally speaking, I know people who like one or the other, and that's always fine. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, they're characters who are just fine at the end of the day, objectively. They do a lot of things that could be done by other characters, but are just done worse, or just represented the wrong way. Like, Codex Snake, he's just meant to be like the codec thing, but he's mostly just kind of like a skit talking character. A lot of his like absorption moves, where he copies things from other characters, is just like, it's kind of whatever. It's a lot of work for very little. And MS Paint Guy is like MS Paint Guy. I think you could do just a thing about making like the whole basic Microsoft stuff and do it better. Cursor is basically just MS Paint Guy, but better in a lot of ways. So you don't really need an OC to do that job. It kind of just limits you, but like at the same time, it's just it's boring. It's just like, it's uninteresting. It's not as engaging for a lot of people. And I wrote down here, it's childish. I don't know if I personally agree. It's a weird case. It's like, it's hard to like really describe. It just doesn't feel right to a lot of people. Because LoL was meant to be a passion project at the end of the day. And LLCs are oftentimes just that, passion projects. They're also meant to be a jumping off point to get you engaged with something. In the same way, Smash is. It gets you engaged with a certain video game thing. and it's just it can be done very, very badly in Law. Now DKess somehow hits a lot of these points, but they wrap around to working in his favor, or he just avoids all of them entirely. So inherently, what is DKess? DKess comes from the original Law, not as a playable character. I think he was the headmaster of just Law DKess. Zippity Zab kind of made him as a self-insert. And if you know anything about Zab, I think they like to just, well, DKess started out as a self-insert, but he kind of became his own character because Zab, I don't know why the reasoning was for that. I don't quite remember, but even then, Zab has a tendency of making his own character, like, he's playing up like a persona, and that he's meant to not be very likable. It's a nice little funny internet persona, and that's put onto DKess, and it makes him like a funny, like, pathetic villain in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, his original Law was just kind of, it wasn't that great. I don't know, I haven't seen it, but from what I heard, it was bad. But he also had his own little skits and animations and things, so he had, like, a presence of his own thing. But he never actually had a moveset for Law DKess from nowhere. He just remained a headmaster. And then eventually, Law DKess was cancelled, and then it wasn't brought back for a bit. But then, Shreckles, a very respected, newer community member, comes in and makes a whole moveset for DKess. This works because, one, DKess wasn't made by his original creator at this point. It's being made by someone else with genuine passion putting into it. And that shows that, this person genuinely just liked DKess. Shreckles liked DKess. There was charm in it. And I think we can all agree when we look back at, like, bad OCs when we were a kid. And, like, some people, I think, even like looking at bad laws. I think that's like a thing in the community where even if a law isn't on the big ultimate tier list, we still like looking at bad laws because we can appreciate, where we came from, how people improve, and, we're just mature about that kind of thing. And to see, like, someone, like, wrapping around, like, I just really love this character. It's just making them into their own moveset, and then carrying over the lore from that previous Law, instead of just completely, like, erasing it, it adds an extra layer of, like, wholesomeness and intrigue, I guess. It makes you curious how this character is going to grow from here on out, because it's like a very unique circumstance for a character to be in. It's just interesting. And on top of that, his moveset is just genuinely really fantastic. I remember I rewatched it many, many times because I love the music that was put into it. It's just very, very well handled, because obviously Shreckles is very talented. And even then, that was like before, like, a lot of, like, he had eye animations and a lot of things. But even then, it's just really, really good. It's really, really good. It's so, so nice. And then even then, like, the moveset, it's not just copy and pasting animations from the source. He's actually, like, updating a lot of the stuff that's being done in the original stuff. Like, the spin, like, before it would oftentimes just be, like, I am mean and things slapped over the Ouija recolor. But Shreckles goes out of his way to, like, actually, like, color that in and, like, animate it and just shows genuinely a love and care for this character. And it's just so nice. Again, like, being a Ouija recolor also kind of, like, works to the benefit of him feeling kind of familiar and welcome, because it's like that. It's close to, like, obviously Ouija is very close to, like, a YouTube poop. YouTube poop is very close to Law, so he just feels familiar. He feels welcome. We like him. He's not too jarring stylistically. He's just he's just funny. It's very approachable. He works, and obviously because he is meant to be kind of like his own entity separate from Zab, he has had so many times to just kind of be his own thing and grow as a character. And he has a cool dynamic of being the creation versus the creator in a lot of his the cool DKess movies. He just works. He has, like, a lot of, like, layers to his character that make him very interesting to watch, even, like, just for, like, simple funny stuff. And it's just good. And DKess shows, I think, is, like, another thing we all love DKess for, I think, is that, remember I brought it up before, But I think DKess kind of also just represents us as a community in the modern day as well, because it shows that we have a level of maturity now. We can grow and change as the years go by. OCs can work. Someone like DKess, who started off with like in a lull that was pretty poor, Zab still bounced back and managed to make something incredible and amazing of his own. And it's just good. It's just really, really wonderful. And we all welcome him with open arms, and we're not being like, oh, poking, like, oh, haha, but your old law was bad. We're not being like that anymore. We're not super overtly critical. And we can appreciate what is there. It's just, because I know that was a problem for the community for the longest time. And DKess being able to stand on his own 2 feet is like just a very welcome representation of that era of law, kind of like slewing into the sea or whatever the heck. you know what I mean. Yeah. DKess just kind of just works. He really, really just doesn't have many problems with him. And I think we all love him one way or the other. I would like to leave some small points and feedback of my own. Because I did watch Lawl Community a couple times. I really, really like it. And I think there is one thing I am concerned about with DKess is I don't want to see him become like, while he is the figurehead for like this community era of sorts, at the same time, I don't want him to keep doing the same thing of just being this villain who like is breaking the fourth wall all the time. I would greatly appreciate it if, like, because like partially because that is kind of like just so overdone. It's kind of it's kind of like not a stereotype, but cliche. That's cliche. Yeah, it's cliche. That's what it is. I think we all just love character growth just as much as we love a consistent anti-hero or villain. And I would like to see DKess finally learn and take a step back to see, he is appreciated. Like, in this modern day, like, DKess, maybe his old law wasn't fantastic. Maybe he's a kind of villainous, but I don't know. I think as he is, we all can appreciate the character. Everyone can grow and change, and I would like to see DKess, his ego is always going to be there, obviously. He is always going to have some kind of snark or sass and be like even just a little bit of a villain. That's why I brought up the anti-hero point. I just don't want him to be the villain of community crossovers forever, for everyone to use. He's someone we should want to see redeemed and accepted, And I feel like we on some level already do. Also, full disclosure, I may have been won over by his, little group of weirdos in Lawl Community with Steamed Hams Man, quote, and He Cookin'. I just love the idea of the weirdo characters who are like the April Fool's gag fucking quote. He Cookin', of all things. I like that. Like, he formed like a friendship with other Law characters. And that makes me want to see him bounce back. And like, I want to see Steamed Hams Man come back and be like, yo, hey, please, DKess, come on, be good now. We all love you as friend, or something like that, in his weird like text-to-speech voice. I just want to see that. I don't know what the future will hold for DKess Movie 3, but that is probably like my biggest wish. Maybe that's silly. Maybe he should always just be a fourth wall breaking villain. I don't know. I'll leave that up to Zab personally, but in my opinion, I think there's only so many times like that bit can be done, and I think there is a time where we all want to see him, like, hit his stride, I guess. I don't know. I like anti-heroes, that's all. But that's it. Yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully, if you have any stories or tales to tell about the wondrous DKess, our funny little guy, funny little Ouija man, do let me know. Finishing thoughts. Bibulus is pretty fucking rad. If I would kill to like have an interview with DKess, like the character, in like a funny little animated bit. Like, I just want to like Heb is DKess's biggest fan. Please, let me enter. I'm like fucking Wilford War Smash, where I'm just like, I'm just sitting him down and asking him questions. I would love that. I just think he's charming. I think he's charming. And he's got good taste in character themes. That's all I'm saying. You know, I gotta appreciate a villain with good musical taste. But that's it. I will let you all go now. You will have a wonderful, wonderful year of DKess, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.